We're going to take a look at kind of some general turntable concepts. We're going to use for this demo a Technics 1200 M5G, which is a really nice high-end DJ turntable. However, it shares features of just about every other turntable out there. So for lack of, I guess just so that we have something nice and pretty to work on, we'll use this, but you can probably use this on just about anything that you got. One of the main things that will really affect your sound is the way that the needle or the stylus addresses the record. So you can, on certain turntables, this one included, you can adjust the height of the arm. Some of the home turntables, you don't adjust the height of the arm, but it's something to keep in mind anyway. Obviously, the needle and the cartridge, which are what are producing the sound from the vinyl, need to be in good quality. So if you got a good needle and you got a good cartridge, that's a great place to start. On a 1200, the cartridge is mounted sometimes on a head shell, sometimes it has its own mount onto the tone arm. If I lower the arm onto the record, lower the cartridge onto the surface of the record, what I'm looking for is, what is specified is, I should say, a level or a parallel surface between the angle of the arm and the surface of the record. Sometimes there are turntables that you can't adjust the height and people will try and use really thick felt slip mats, but that skews the angle of the arm. So you wanna make sure you're using the right slip mat, or that you can, in this case, adjust the height of the arm. And that's by using the wheel here. There's a lock in the back that you can lock that into position if you need to. All right, cool. So the next thing I think would be worth looking at is the counterweight here. The counterweight is basically there to apply the correct amount of balance to the arm. You don't want all of the weight of the cartridge on the record usually, because that would be jamming the needle into the record, which usually can damage the needle, can damage the record, just give you crappy sound. And so the tried and true way to do it that you can do pretty easily is get your arm set up, which means attach the cartridge to it. And then I'm going to use, on a 1200, I'm going to rotate the counterweight or adjust it so that the arm hangs perfectly in balance, just like that. So if I move it up or down, it'll kind of return to a neutral position, nice and easy. That's my 0 point. That's the point from which I start. And on a Technics 1200, there's a dial on that counterweight that rotates independently from the weight itself. So I can rotate that to 0, and that's my 0 point. The weight in grams is specified on the dial. So now I can rotate the entire counterweight, and the dial rotates with it, and I'll put that to whatever weight I'm looking for. Shure M44 cartridge, which until they completely disappear from existence, is a general, standard cart. Usually wants about like 2.5, 3 grams, sometimes more. I know a lot of DJs that scratch really hard will sometimes even rotate the weight so that you get just a little more weight toward the front end of the arm. But for a general listening experience, maybe like 2 grams, 2.5 grams, all the way up to 3. So I'm going to put this at 2.5 grams. And now I have just enough weight at the end so that there's good contact for the needle on the record, and not too much so it's like damaging anything. So there you have it. The next thing is the anti-skating. On a 1200 and probably most turntables, the anti-skate is a small dial that's on the side of the tone arm mount. The anti-skate, to be honest, doesn't do a whole lot. It's a spring that doesn't exert a whole lot of pressure, that is designed to bring the arm back toward me, back toward the armrest. So away from the center of the disc. The reason is that the rotational force of the record it supposedly pulls the needle in toward the center. Not hard enough to really make it skip, but enough so that the left-right balance is skewed. As you probably know, like the stereo information on a record is when the needle vibrates left or right. So if the needle is pulling too hard in one direction, that side will be louder. So the anti-skate is designed to counteract that force ever so slightly so that you just get a balanced image. In my personal experience, I haven't seen a whole lot of difference in adjusting it, but I'm sure if you start doing scientific measurements, you can really see the difference. We see a lot of customers that believe that the anti-skate is damaged because their needle is skipping all over the place, but it typically is because of a different issue, either a broken tone arm or a bad needle or something like that. So the anti-skate, really you can probably get away with leaving it at a low number, 0 or something. The numbers on the anti-skate dial usually indicate a force in grams of pull on the tone arm. Let's see, we have a tone arm set up, we have our counterweight good, we have our anti-skate. The next thing that really, I guess, makes the biggest difference, or maybe the first thing, is making sure that your table's on a balanced surface. Most decks have some sort of adjustment where maybe you can adjust the height of the legs by screwing them or unscrewing them or something like that. If the deck isn't level, then you have a potential area where the arm can skip around or the needle can skip around across your record. So as long as your deck is flat, that's cool.